morning, folks. It is the 14th of July, 2021. It's Wednesday, and here we go. Kind of wanted to start this off with a little bit of, I guess you could call it humor. Well, it's funny to me. I don't know if it'll be funny to y'all. A friend of mine shot me a text this morning and said that we worked together on a construction site some years ago, and he's still in construction. And he said one of the older cats on the job site was screaming to their IT guy that there must be something was wrong with his computer. It sounded like the gears were about to give out. Yes, I laughed because if you've ever been in IT in a construction environment, you know how likely and how funny that is. At any rate, moving on to something a little less funny. I got bogged down yesterday in doing my research into both the Windows 11 and to Linux desktops by an old demon, having to install or do a spot install of an ESXi server on hardware that had a Realtek driver. And as those of you know, Realtek drivers and the later versions of ESX just not liking each other at all. So it took me about a day longer to figure that out than I wanted to. As it turns out, I had an old compilation package and I was able to use that to install and then do some updates, and everything worked out fine. But it was a gigantic pain in the neck, and I quickly remembered why I went to other hypervisors over ESX some years ago. I don't mind the VMware desktop at all, VMware workstation. And once it's installed and up and going, ESX is a great tool, but not my favorite thing to get up and installed if you've got any kind of wacky network hardware at all. And it seems that the more recent versions of ESX have actually trimmed out the drivers, I would imagine, to reduce the size of the package. So if you're not dealing with Intel drivers, or you're not getting your server hardware directly from Dell or directly from HP, preferably with ESX pre-installed, pat your IT guy on the back or IT girl on the back, because you're about to cause them a headache that you probably didn't anticipate. And if they have a short memory like me, or are fairly new to the field, they probably don't anticipate either. So that's how that went. As far as Windows 11, I've been playing with it on a couple of desktops here for the last couple of days. It's cute, I suppose, is the next thing. It's gotten a lot of cosmetic upgrades. Most of the stuff that's there that's quote unquote different from Windows 10 is in Windows 10. It's just not enabled by default, and a little research and you can get it enabled fairly quickly. So it's not exactly a quantum leap in development, but it's what Microsoft wants. And as we all know, what Microsoft wants, Microsoft tends to get. So I would suggest, if you're an IT professional, find a piece of hardware, get it installed on there, start to play with it a little bit so you can at least become familiar enough with it to support it moving forward. I have downloaded an eval copy of Server 2022 to get going on a piece of hardware, to try and join those to a Windows domain, both physical and virtual, and start to get an idea of how the next versions of Windows are going to move forward. The last version of Windows servers, of course, went more container than anything else, so especially in Hyper-V. So we'll see how they've moved that forward, if it's streamlined, if it's a little more responsive than it was, if it's as big a pain in the neck as it has been in the past to install, or if they've smoothed that out, kind of like they've done with Exchange Server over the years, or at least before it went mostly cloud. So that's kind of what we're doing with that. As far as the Linux desktops go, still liking Twister. Twister 11 is a cute offshoot. But if you're looking to go Linux for the open source reasons or budgetary reasons, etc., so far that's the one I found that mirrors Windows desktops in both look and functionality as much as anything else. So if that's kind of what you're doing, then it's time to get with your IT folks, internal or external, develop a plan for migration, get those things over as smoothly as possible. If you don't have a backup system, this is a real good time to put one in. If you're going to a NAS, I'm really liking the True Image front end. If you're going Synology or something along those lines, the updated WRT versions also give you a little more access than almost anybody's kind of baked in management system will. But these are things that small to medium sized businesses really need to look at, with both the uptick in work from home as well as the uptick in cyber infestations. Just because you're small and medium does not mean that you are not susceptible to ransomware. It's happened in places that I've worked. We got lucky and it only happened to one computer of one person who wasn't big into using his computer anyway. So it was just simple enough for us to make the necessary security changes, wipe that laptop, start all over, and no harm, no foul. But that was luck. It had nothing to do with security skill, trust me. So definitely something that everyone should look at moving forward. If you've got any questions, give us a call, shoot us an email, drop a comment, etc., and we'll be more than glad to help out. Moving forward, the rest of this week, we'll try to get back to more investigation of Windows 11 and the Linux desktops. Next week, we're going to get deep into Server 2022, the preview copy, and see what's out there for that. Try to get a nice Windows network set up, since that's still going to be prevailing moving forward, and see what we can do with both Windows specific environment as well as try to do some hybridization with both Macs, as much as Macs will allow, and Linux systems. So SMB and some other things are going to be involved. So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. Hopefully everybody will enjoy. And as I said, if you got any questions, please let us know. Thanks and have a great day.